Where's Erika?
I swear in right here.
I just saw your name this week.
Spoke out against the violence and urged Americans to come together. Take a look.
Because you helped me feel even more deeply connected to my husband. And I thank you for that.
The movement he created is bigger than ever.
Attitude to everything. He was clearly so excited to be there. And
No one will ever replace my husband. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD.
Usha Vance's hair has gone seriously gray in less than 6 months as second lady, and what just went down at a top-secret MAGA dinner might explain why she's been aging in dog years. Word on the street is that an audio recording exists of Usha absolutely losing it on Erika Kirk, and if that tape ever surfaces, the fallout could reshape the entire 2028 presidential race before it even begins. Because what looks like innocent political networking on the surface is actually something far more calculated, far more strategic, and potentially far more destructive to one of the most prominent marriages in American politics right now. Let's rewind to where the red flags started appearing. When JD Vance took the stage at a Turning Point USA rally, nobody expected what happened next. The hug between him and Erika Kirk wasn't just friendly. It crossed a line that had people doing double takes across social media. The way Erika wrapped her arms around him, the way her hands went up around his head, the way JD seemed to lean into it while his wife watched from somewhere in that crowd. The body language was telling a story that neither of them seemed aware they were broadcasting to thousands of witnesses. But the hug was just the beginning. What Erika said immediately afterward made the situation exponentially more uncomfortable. She stood there and declared that while no one could ever replace her late husband Charlie, she sees similarities between Charlie and JD Vance. She said it plainly, in front of everyone, as if comparing the vice president of the United States to her deceased husband was somehow appropriate behavior for a woman who lost her spouse less than 3 months ago. The implication hung in the air like smoke after a fire, impossible to ignore and difficult to interpret as anything innocent. Then JD made the entire situation worse by essentially throwing his wife under the bus on that same stage. He started talking about how Usha comes to church with him most Sundays, but his greatest wish is that she would convert to Catholicism and accept Jesus the way he has. He said this in front of 10,000 people, calling them his closest friends, while discussing his hope that his Hindu wife will eventually abandon her faith for his.
Do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church?
We don't all align with his views. What I deeply aligned with was he said, when we stop talking, that's when things get bad.
I do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way.
It is unfortunately emblematic of how our politics is being conducted today.
You guys have no idea how helpful it is to have all of you in my life.
The humiliation on Usha's face was visible to anyone paying attention. Here's a woman who already compromises by attending his church regularly, who's raising their children in the Christian faith despite her own beliefs, and her husband chooses this moment, right after that suspicious hug with Erika, to publicly wish she was more Christian. The timing wasn't coincidental, the optics weren't accidental, and people started connecting dots that formed a very disturbing picture. Comments started flooding in suggesting that MAGA is soft launching a JD Vance and Erika Kirk political partnership for 2028. Some predicted divorce announcements by 2026. Others theorized that Vance would leave his wife for racist reasons, marry Erika, and continue milking Charlie Kirk's legacy to secure votes, positioning Erika as the future First Lady. These aren't fringe conspiracy theories from random trolls. These are observations from people watching the same political theater everyone else is watching and recognizing the patterns. Now here's where it gets interesting. Usha Vance isn't some random political wife who married into power without her own accomplishments. This woman graduated summa cum laude from Yale, earned a master's degree from Cambridge, and has a Juris Doctor from Yale Law School. JD himself has publicly stated multiple times that she's smarter and more accomplished than he could ever be. So when MAGA starts playing games involving his marriage, they're not dealing with someone who won't notice. They're dealing with someone who's probably already 10 steps ahead of whatever scheme they're running. And there's definitely a scheme in play. Reports suggest JD is interested in running for president in 2028. If he decides to throw his hat in the ring, he'll obviously run as a Republican, and he has a legitimate shot at winning the nomination, except for one significant problem that keeps MAGA strategists up at night. Usha isn't white. She's a brown Hindu woman who, despite being born in America and living there her entire life, doesn't fit the image that the most hardcore conservative base wants to see standing next to their president. It doesn't matter how educated she is, how accomplished, how American. According to the people who decide these things behind closed doors, she's not good enough for the image they're trying to project. But Erika Kirk, she checks every single box on the conservative dream checklist. White, Christian, patriotic, fiercely loyal to her late husband's legacy, young, attractive, and now positioned as the CEO of one of the most powerful conservative organizations in America. Her appearance next to JD on that stage wasn't about chemistry or grief or friendship. It looked exactly like what it probably was: political staging designed to plant an idea in people's minds about what the future could look like. The strategic positioning becomes even more obvious when you consider Erika's trajectory since Charlie's death. People expected her to step back, take time to grieve, maybe disappear from public view for a while. Instead, she did the opposite. Within weeks, she was leading Turning Point USA, doing interviews, scoring endorsements, landing podcast deals, and carefully transforming herself into the face of young conservative politics. Her profile has exploded in ways that would be impressive for any political figure, let alone a widow still supposedly processing the violent death of her husband. She's moving like someone following a very specific playbook, and every move seems calculated for maximum impact. And here's what makes the whole situation even more twisted. Usha was there for Erika when Charlie died. She dropped everything to be by Erika's side. She was there when Charlie's body was brought home. There's that powerful photograph of Usha hugging Erika, letting Erika cry on her shoulder during one of the worst moments of her life. Usha even helped Erika figure out how to break the devastating news to her young children that their father wasn't coming home. JD himself described how Erika asked his wife for advice on how to tell her beautiful kids that their father was gone. That's the level of support and compassion Usha showed this woman in her darkest hour. And now, just months later, that same woman is on stage wrapping her arms around Usha's husband in ways that have social media dissecting every frame of video footage. The betrayal of that dynamic is staggering when you really think about it. Usha showed up with genuine compassion and support, and the repayment appears to be a calculated play for her husband's political future. But Erika's ambitions might have started even higher up the ladder. In the immediate aftermath of Charlie's death, there were whispers that Erika was making moves on Trump himself. Her first public statement after losing her husband included a very specific message to the former president, talking about how Charlie loved him, how Trump loved Charlie back, how their friendship was amazing. The way she framed it felt oddly personal for a statement about her dead husband. Then there was Trump's hug with Erika at Charlie's memorial service. People started noticing that it seemed too intimate, too prolonged, too comfortable. There's specific footage from that interaction that made people start questioning whether something else was happening beneath the surface. Some observers claimed there was a moment where Erika might have grabbed Trump inappropriately during that embrace. Whether that's true or not, the speculation itself reveals how suspicious people found their interaction. Comments started appearing suggesting that Erika was either already involved with Trump or planning to be, despite his marriage to Melania. But Erika apparently clocked pretty quickly that Trump wasn't going anywhere. He might have a history of infidelity, including that infamous situation with an adult film star, but he and Melania are locked in regardless of how happy or unhappy their marriage might be. Once Erika realized Trump wasn't a viable path to power, she allegedly switched gears entirely and redirected her focus to JD Vance. She's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers, patiently positioning herself exactly where she needs to be for 2028. What Erika didn't anticipate was serious pushback from Usha, and this is where that rumored MAGA dinner confrontation becomes absolutely crucial to understanding what's really happening. According to sources, Usha confronted Erika directly and didn't hold back. While most of MAGA seems to think Erika just happened to be in the right place at the right time and would make a perfect wife for JD's presidential ambitions, Usha sees right through the performance. She recognizes the strategic positioning for exactly what it is: a calculated long-term plan to end up in the White House by 2028, regardless of whose marriage has to be destroyed in the process. And let's be clear about what we're actually discussing here. This isn't about romance or genuine connection or even inappropriate attraction. This is about optics, political strategy, and the cold calculation of what image plays best with the conservative base that will decide the 2028 Republican primary. Every hug, every speech, every perfectly timed appearance together is designed to normalize the visual of JD and Erika as a unit. The base is being conditioned to see them together, to accept them together, to imagine them together in positions of ultimate power. Meanwhile, JD has been leaning hard into the evangelical messaging that plays directly into this narrative. The rallies, the faith-filled speeches, the subtle but consistent distancing from Usha's Hindu background, that awkward comment about wishing she would convert wasn't just a gaffe. It was a signal to the most hardline conservative voters that he sees his current wife as an outsider, as someone who doesn't fully belong, as someone who could theoretically be replaced with someone who better fits their vision of what America should look like. The power dynamics here are fascinating when you break them down. Turning Point USA has become even more influential since Charlie's death. They've seen massive increases in donations and received over 54,000 inquiries about launching new chapters. The organization's reach and influence with young conservatives is undeniable. If JD wants their full support for a 2028 run, cozying up to their new CEO makes perfect strategic sense. And what better way to secure that support than by marrying into the organization's leadership? For Erika, the calculation is equally clear. She's after power, and she's smart enough to recognize the paths available to her. JD Vance represents the most direct route to the White House that a young conservative woman could possibly have right now. She's young enough, attractive enough, politically connected enough, and now tragic enough with her widow status to be positioned as the sympathetic figure who helped guide America back to greatness or whatever narrative they decide to build. But Usha is standing in the way of this entire carefully constructed plan, and she's not about to step aside quietly. That reported meltdown at the secret MAGA dinner wasn't just an emotional outburst, it was a declaration of war. Usha is making it crystal clear that she sees every move being made, understands exactly what's being attempted, and has no intention of letting her life, her marriage, or her family be hijacked by Erika Kirk's ambitions and MAGA's racist optics concerns. The tension is building towards some kind of breaking point. One leaked audio recording, one awkward public moment, one too obvious display of inappropriate closeness, and this entire situation could explode into the biggest political scandal of the year. The triangle of Usha, JD, and Erika is just getting started, and every single person involved is playing for stakes that couldn't be higher. The White House in 2028, the future of the Republican Party, the fate of multiple marriages and families, and the question of whether raw political ambition can successfully destroy a marriage between two extremely intelligent people who've built a life together. Buckle up, because this drama is nowhere near finished. Usha's too smart to be outmaneuvered easily, Erika's too ambitious to back down without a fight, and JD's caught in the middle of a situation that could either launch him to the presidency or destroy his political career entirely, depending on how the next few moves play out. That's it for today, folks. See you in the next video.